Put it in the...
Well, so on Benjamin's live thing, latest one, what's the date? Today is Wednesday.
I'm like Mr. Merch guy. I'm not like, hey, Andy, give me my merch so I can wear it outside.
Just
because we just opened a box.
Felt it necessary to
it's really soft stuff.
Tune in and listen to what he has to say on this one. He already started by talking about birth certificates and bonds, so starts there. Let's see where it goes from there on.
He was like, the reason we looked bad in Vietnam is because, he goes, we were dealing with two tyrannical forces. He was like, we showed the horrors from our perspective because America was willing to show the horrors. The communists didn't show anyone what they were doing. And so it's really interesting. It's almost like lies by omission, but it isn't as on the journalists as I thought. It was more a higher level decision because they were doing their job and showing the reality of war, which it is important. Like, you don't send your children to fight a war and think that it's something it isn't. You know, to understand that there is massive...
Remember the last video I was talking about how they glorify World War II or talk about the wars and all that other stuff? It's to maintain the focus.
But the fact that
Same shit.
The other side didn't show their side.
Let me turn this down for me because he's just going to repeat himself. Is in relation to like the truther and like flat earth community approaches, the one-sided approaches, the only offense, no defense, or one or the other. The thing is, like, he can spend an entire hour talking intellectually about this topic, and people would donate to him all day and be like, oh yeah, you're great and all this other stuff, and then completely avoid colonialism, like the profit behind war, destruction, genocide, stealing of land, so on and so forth, the origins of modern war. See, in order to distract you, they'll speak about the politics of the wars, which is the movie. They're not talking about the projector screen or the theater or the individuals, the consciousness that is experiencing all of that, and that fake movie. They can only talk about the movie. This is what's going on.
Those dudes, Dan Carlin and this war journalist from Vietnam, were talking.
So
about
here, Vietnam. See, I just turned it up just for a second, just to hear where he was coming from. He's still talking about Vietnam or the wars, like I said. And this is the design to maintain this. It's emptiness. It's intellectual emptiness. There's nothing there. But you feel full because your normal everyday like pattern is emptiness squared. So, you know, hearing something at all that makes any kind of sense, that is like triggering your higher mind in any kind of sense, when your norm is like whatever, people work in the service industry, your norm, you get in a repetition sort of thing. So this is kind of like a breath of fresh air for people who are in like the stream, like the midstream consciousness, or the midstream and the mainstream consciousness. He's catering to that, or he speaks to that group, which is a big group of people. And watch all these donations too, like so yeah. And he's already like anyway, let me see what he's saying now.
About like Che Guevara, and back then they were talking
Che Guevara.
About, they were shirts with like Mao Zedong on it. Mao Zedong killed.
Still that shit. Never getting to the origins. Never getting to like, all right, well, it's just blah 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 blah. It's just politics. There's what I want to, because you can look at it. I'll probably just put a screenshot up about it, and then just the sound in the background, but because it's just him sitting by the fire anyway, it don't matter. You can look at his face and know what's going on. Yeah, I guess I'll get a screenshot where. Okay. So what are they saying? Oh, he was talking about Vietnam War.
Black pajamas? You know, anyway.
Oh, the streams of consciousness.
They at least could say these are foreigners. And that appeals to people on a deep level. Like, that's what happened to me yesterday. I have no friends.
See, what people like Owen Benjamin does the same thing Alex Jones does. He adds complexity to the fringe mainstream media approach to society and what's going on with the people. So just like politics, you don't see politicians in the streets. They ain't with you. They don't give a fuck about you. They ain't showing up around where you are. You're not in their field. The same thing's going on with a lot of these celebrities, but also it's like the fringe consciousness. They represent that in order to guide, to usher, to shepherd people.
Reading that part of the Bible, but I felt that feeling where I'm like, you don't talk shit about Catholics, Jew, and that's how it was in Vietnam too. I bet.
Still Vietnam.
Ho Chi Minh just raped your mom, and you know.
And I know I'm being like hard on him. This dude is just like an entertainer, but I will be hard on that individual as he presents himself as such out there as an authority of like intellect or perspectives of society and reality, and he's like in the chat. I could potentially be in the chat and he could have shut me down just like he yells, oh, you're banned for life. It's a control thing. It's like I made this video before talking about man-children mentality, this beta male, building up the beta male mentality. Like even like Joe Rogan, like they play the alpha male. They say that alpha male stuff all the time. But the way that they play alpha males is at best a maxing of a beta male. It's not balanced. It's not balanced masculinity. It is colonial masculinity. It is a made up. It's an illusion, just like celebrityism. That's what modern masculinity and femininity is, because it's separated from our ancestral interpretations of what that truly is. The balance is between real science and true spirituality outside of this realm. Outside of this bullshit new age, we're all human, we're all one bullshit. That's like kindergarten for a trap, potentially. And if you want to stay in that trap, you can teach an entire education system based upon that trap mentality, that trap house. And you're going to trap people in, this is all this, and they're going to limit their consciousness to bastardized interpretations of what this realm is. Some like in interpreting a dream or something, and then like how you can see what that is, like how much you would lose, like the entire subconscious, like that's just a sliver of what that dream was about. And entire realities like that.
I felt the same way about all the American leftists that were like, talking about how American capitalism was the devil and all this stuff, and they were like, well, yeah, he's right, but I mean, we'd kill him out of principle because that's not a man. Like, what are you supposed to do with that guy? Hang on a second, I may have to do some banning. If people are
this is control.
Talking about flat Earth, well, I'm not talking about flat Earth.
Control.
Will be banned for life.
This is a child.
Because that shit is so annoying, and I'm always a big.
It's a chat. He's got his whole thing.
Underdogs. Not when it comes to intelligence.
See,
but I say intellectual underdogs.
Individuals like this are setting standards for how YouTubers, like the celebrity YouTubers, are going to interact with society. This is what Owen Benjamin is doing. They couldn't use Alex Jones because he was too extreme. So they're trying to humanize and truthenize that illusory system, the establishment. They're trying to trutherize the illusory establishment with their lackeys. And they put people out there and then they take people back. So they let Alex Jones out there, and then they moved him around the board. They didn't take him off the board by any means. They just moved him around the board for a particular purpose. And then Joe Rogan is the same way. Look at his no, I don't want to do that. Look at oh, well, you can't see his face because I'm not screen recording, but he's like really, he just looks like a child, like.
They're like, dude, I kind of think the Earth might be flat, but like these flat earthers are so fucking annoying. And I'm like, yeah, ban them all.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Like, okay, listen to this shit. If you're really talking about the flat earth, why would you consume yourself in any moment with the flat earthers? Isn't the actual story of the flat earth, especially when you're a fucking celebrity, like you got 5,000 people here and you're talking about the flat earthers when you are really entertaining the idea that the earth might not be a fucking globe? Are you this is what I mean by that childish ass fucking, these aren't like, you see what I'm saying? I don't have to say any more than that.
So the earth, this is why the heliocentric model is freaking me out. And there's no coincidences.
He's
there's some coincidences, but the Earth is 66,600. It's going.
He's like one of the introducers of. He might have more people watching this now. Okay, yeah, he's got 4,000. And last time he said 5,000. It's about the same.
66,600 miles around the sun. It's also tilted at 66.6 degrees. So.
Eventually, people are just gonna stop listening to him because the same way you stop. Okay, this is a good example. Eventually, people are just gonna stop listening to him the same way they stop listening to Alex Jones because they're gonna realize that these individuals are not really addressing anything other than their own egotistical perspectives of what's going on, and largely it maxes out at politics and doesn't go any further than. Like the wars and like the Jews and the Illuminati, like the very like woo woo that sort of thing. They don't never want to go any like to ground themselves to anchor any deeper than like realness. Like I said, to empower yourself to be balanced, play like the offense and the defense. Like you have to train yourself. Like when you're thinking and working and like intellectually working, like teaching yourself. Like, think about it this way. Like, you can learn one way. You can learn. This is a part of learning that I have all the time, and I've integrated it in to when I'm learning something new. There are times when I will fuck something up on purpose. Like, I'm like, I have a potential to fuck this up. Like, if I try it this way, this might get real fucked up. And then I'll be like, fuck it. I'll just do it because. Then if I do that, then I'll know like how fucked up it has been. Like it, like you like learning because you learn from your mistakes. It's another way of learning. You can learn from doing something well, but you can also learn from your mistakes. And from my experience, it sets in deeper when you learn from your mistakes because you take a responsibility. Once you start to not be limited by your own emotional responses to the learning experience. You start to turn it into a growth. So that's what I'm talking about in reference to playing defense. What's up with this bear shit? He keeps grabbing this bear and putting this bear in the camera. Keep this in mind when you're there's another picture of him in the bear. It's actually more revealing when you watch this video and he's not listening to him. Just watch the Owen Benjamin live streams that I'm like got on in the background without the sound on. And then see if you actually need to be talking. Like at this part, it's probably like I started at 5 minutes. I don't know how many minutes is going on now. Hold on, let me see. But you'll see why. Let me see what the fuck is it? Been on 5 minutes. No, it's probably been about 10 minutes and 15 minutes now. I mean, what it's probably just showing like family stuff, but you know what I mean. It's just kind of like you might as well be watching Stephen Colbert. You might as well be watching Alex Jones. He's like a mixture between the two, Alex Jones, or the three, Alex Jones, Joe Rogan, and Stephen Colbert. And I don't know, some other scruffy comedian, himself or something like that, his stand-up version of himself. Yeah, these are distractors of your consciousness. Oh, the offense and the defense. So Like when you're learning it like linearly, like that's the conscious reality. That's a learning experience. It's very obvious. It's very tangible. The subconscious, the non-physical, like your dream space, the stuff that's kind of like the other side of the hemisphere, is the like part of our like engine, like our engines that has been shut down. Multiple engines that have been shut down because our balances are completely, thrown off. So we don't have any relationship with the subconscious, uh, like the positive and negative, the light and the dark, the electric and the magnetic frequencies are all out of whack because everything is about linear time, linear science, linear monkey evolution, linear space, linear reproduction, linear consciousness. Everything is very just like, this is what it is. Religion, school, dinosaurs, the sun, the moon, gravity, and the justice system, and the good American way, and eventually the world order to unify humanity, and that all bullshit. And these are the individuals that are part of the controlled takedown. This is the controlled takedown. I was saying this about Alex Jones when I first started talking about Alex Jones. This is why I say it doesn't even fucking matter to be talking about Alex Jones, because Alex Jones is just a part of the controlled demolition. They don't want to give the land back to the people. No, they just want to blow the building. They want to 9/11 the entire system, like what we're revealing right now. They just want to 9/11 it, so they'll fake take down their towers with these lackeys who are paid in many different ways to do their job. These are just stand-up comedians being paid for live streams. This dude's making up shit. See, he's still talking about the Jews. Like, ain't going no deeper than that. Like, that's like, how many times? I'm telling you, ain't even talking about nothing different than that. You just go from Jews to wars and maybe some flat earth stuff. Interesting enough, because you don't never talk, but there's all the taboo stuff. How interesting. It's the same shit. I mean, they're way behind. This is why I say when dudes like Owen Benjamin don't matter. This dude is like decades behind some shit. Way behind some shit. There been teachers that have already been broke this shit down. Not specifically flat earth in many ways that we've been breaking it down recently, but the information and the tactics of this system and this monster, this consciousness over this parasite overall, whatever you want to call it, this thing that exists that is causing so much havoc, or creating the situations for us to cause all this havoc amongst ourselves, self-destruct. What is it? What's going on? Like the individuals who are placed out there in front of you they're not gonna go there. They're gonna go stick their toe in the water. That's why I said, look, he started off by talking about how the birth certificates are in the beginning, in the first 5 minutes. That's when I tuned in. In the first 5 minutes, he started talking about the birth certificates and how they are owned by the Rothschilds, and then that's it. That's the last thing you heard. And then he just filibustered the rest of the live stream. But look at how many people got hooked in that first. He ain't said nothing deeper than that since then. He's just distracted you with all this bullshit. And he's, look, what were we saying? The Jews again? Let's see.
Genetically not Jewish. That's why
there it is. I mean, I was talking for like 5 minutes. It was mostly genetically not Jewish. So, I'm just turning it up and turning it down, and then it's still going live right now. So, yeah, it's funny. It's funny because, like I said, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of space, and I just wanted to explain to people how it's a waste of time. Let's see how much time has been going on the recording so we can know exactly. So almost exactly 20 minutes, like right in a few seconds now. So 20 minutes now, he started talking about, which is the deepest, most revealing thing out there, even in many ways deeper than flat earth, because it's including flat earth. The lie that is your birth certificate, you're connected to your soul and the ownership for the Rothschilds. And then just straight to the Jews, like I've been saying in my previous videos, the Jews as the scapegoat. Not to say that, what they call those people, they call themselves the Jewish people, not this or whatever, that system. I'm not trying to generalize, but there is that whole relationship between Israel, so-called Israel now, and the mainstream American dream colonial consciousness. That's all one big team. That's like A squad, B squad right there. It's the same thing. So when you know that, you might as well be talking about Donald Trump. If you're talking about the Jews, like I said, not to say that don't mean that those individuals ain't doing anything bad or ain't doing anything fucked up. It just means that there's something deeper that doesn't really need to be. You don't need to be focusing on some old shallow ass shit unless you can only pay attention to that. Like the time when people who are listening to this video right now, remember back to a time when you had like a phase, like a fad or something, is it cause a fad, like a fad? Oh, that is like a phase, is it a phase? Like there was a time when I was listening to, like, when I was in the new age mentality, I was listening to like channelings, and then like trying to figure out what the hell that shit is, like, and then eventually I figured out what all those channelers are saying, and like what that language is, and what they're saying, because you can see what they're saying by what they're also not saying, and what that is. I'm not saying there is, like, whatever that is. I'm just saying overall, you got so-called channelers, and then you got the channel. Then these are just languages. You can listen to them. So like I was listening to, like I mentioned earlier, what is the name of that channel? The lady, I think her name is Sweet Anita. Her YouTube channel, well, I think she's mostly on Twitch, but her YouTube channel, she has Tourette's. So if you haven't seen that part of the video yet, she has Tourette's. And she kind of just flows in her live stream, like with the Tourette's, as if it's just kind of like this passenger that just, every now and again says, I have a dick. And like she's out there, she just says, I have a dick, out of nowhere, and out of nowhere she'll just like hand gestures that she's masturbating a dick, and then she's like doing all this, like she's reacting. So how I'm watching it, when I'm watching her reactions to videos, and I'm learning, like, what is Tourette's. Like, I don't know what Tourette's is. Like, I know what it is, like, for like the Webster's dictionary, but I'm learning, like, you can learn about like what this, what's going on in the mind by seeing that. So I'm seeing patterns in what she's watching, and how her Tourette's is being triggered. So not to say that it's anything like whatever it is. It's just to say, I can. The main thing is that there's patterns there. You can see patterns the same way you see patterns in individuals. Like his whole, like, when he gets into the chat, he's playing power moves. So like this is what it means. This is what it boils down to. Like I was talking about how the mainstream consciousness uses like your relationship man's best friend with dogs to like break. So you break a dog, so you are okay to be broken by a higher authority. So that's like a subconscious, like double reverse psychology or something like that. So like we don't even realize that this is going on. Damn, I lost my train of thought because I was gonna tie it into this fucking Owen Benjamin shit. So break being broken. Oh, that's what it was. So the chat. So because I'm seeing his face right now. He's all emotional. He's like, oh, he's wiping his face, like, oh, staring into the camera. He's like being pissed off about the chat. Let's turn it up right now and see what he says.
I'm like, it's a good point, but what if a lot of people realize I'm not crazy? It's like, fucking kill you then. But anyway, someone was saying that I talk so freely because I saw a comment. This is very interesting. I saw a comment on YouTube, one of my YouTube videos, and it was one of the coolest things ever. But I'm gonna make an addendum. They said, "So this is what the truth sounds like. I love this. It's not the truth. This is what honesty sounds like."
You hear
Everyone
it?
says they know
This
the
is what he
truth,
represents.
unless it's their belief, unless it's the Bible,
So
or unless it's their fucking muzzy.
he just switched the truth word with honesty.
Says, like,
it's the same
everything out
shit.
of my mouth is the truth. They're lying. They're a wizard. Honesty has a vibration, and that's one reason why there's 4,700.
There you go.
Right
So
now.
he's out there to be honest about a particular vibration
You might hate
that
me,
maintains
like,
the enslaved
there's
mind.
a vibration and a way of speaking that you know on an instinctive level.
It's bullshit.
When someone isn't lying, or when someone's just being open about what they actually think and just rolling with it. Because you can't possibly script what I do every day. I talk for like pushing 3 hours drinking White Claw seltzers, spiked. No sugar though. That's why
I talk for 3 hours not drinking shit and burn the motherfucker down.
It feels good to listen to an honest man. Or a mostly honest man. I catch myself doing white
somebody send this video to Owen Benjamin.
Lies of omission, things like that.
Send this video over him. Tell him everything he being proud of right now. Tell him how I'm pushing 1,000 fucking videos on my channel. Already addressed his ass.
You know,
and you want to talk about honesty and truth.
Dicey thing I've been talking about, and I've been really enjoying it.
What's the most dicey thing?
Soon it'll be the Windsors, though.
The Windsors?
But
oh, the Rothschilds probably.
Yeah. So people have been like, yeah, but you don't want to give them rope to hang yourself with, because go on the internet. If you just type in my name, there's all these people making montages that make me look insane. Owen Benjamin Parodies is a friend of the channel. Does a great job.
To get people a team, creates team environments when you
try to make me look awful. And I've had people be like, "Well, that's what happens when you talk 3 hours a night about random shit. You're giving people ammunition." But see, this is what you don't understand.
You're not a victim, dude.
The phrase is giving someone the rope to hang you with, right? If you talk and talk and talk, but you have to run out of rope to hang someone. If I don't stop being honest, like if I just stay
She's so honest
and say what I believe, and I do not sell out, I do not take that bribe, I do not have that fear that makes me like retreat and say something I don't believe. If I don't do that, I give them so much rope they can't hang me. Does that make sense? The way you hang a man, why would you shoot a man before throwing him out of the plane, Hillary? The way you hang a man is you give them the rope, but then you have to stop giving them the rope because hanging requires, right? Has to be a jolt. If there's unlimited rope, they can't strangle me. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense to not a huge percent of the audience. I know it sounds a little wacky, but if you really do 12 hours of fence work.
Everything that he just said right there was a fancy way of saying, I am honest about the truth. And I share so much truth, and I share infinite truth that they could never hang me. That's basically what he just said. In order to like confirm that comment that is like he's the best truth out there. And he just says, no, I'm not truth. Anybody says that truth is just bullshit. Just be honest, okay? Good old American honest.
Give someone the rope to hang you with, and then you stop, and then you stop your truth telling or your honesty. That limits the rope, because you know God's only limitation, right? Is limitation itself. This is kind of like off the rails a little bit here, but that's one reason why I think God created man. Is because the one limitation God has is finity. He's infinite. He's all-knowing. He's the Alpha, Omega, all that shit, right? So it's like imagine being infinite. The only limitation you have is finite. Is that a word? So you create man to have limitations, to be able to die, to have free will, to be able to sin and fail. And God's hoping you don't. But that's him.
How many countdown to the
giving
Bible?
himself the one thing he lacks, which is any restrictions.
Seconds.
And so it's almost like that with the metaphorical give them the rope they hang you with. If you don't stop, if you stay you, if you stay pure, or as pure as you can as a fallen, broken human like we all are, they got
fallen, broken human. 22 seconds. Somebody recurring.
Well, that's my theory. It's not in the Bible.
No shit, Bible. That would have to been 30 seconds.
Do you understand what I'm saying? The limitation of no limitation.
This shit is fucking crazy.
You have to create
it's live too.
To live vicariously. Right, to have no limitations means you can create you as something else with limitations. That I know it's intense, but it makes total fucking sense.
I was trying to figure out a way to prove to people that this is live. Because I'm not screen sharing, it just went. I was gonna read you some of the chat, but my internet just went buffering. What the fuck? When it comes back on, I'll read some of the what you call this. God, it's so even weird to know that people are gonna be like, "There's a live you rewound it." It's so weird.
Someone sent me this.
Catch up now. It's live now.
I have so much.
It's moving so fast.
My guys.
Conspiracy, Benjamin.
And Beloved's a Jew, and not at all sneaky.
It's moving so fast now.
That's what I'm saying.
Bam,
I know Puerto Ricans that don't dance. They don't like
bam.
pineapples.
Hey, garbage.
Beloved's a very honest person. Not
Miss
at all
Beers, to make bam,
bam.
Not even amen. This really Japan, bam,
That's your band man. That's wicked funny.
Hi, like you.
Alright.
Yeah. Anyway.
So let me see what this is. I don't even know who made
cares?
it, but I'm excited to see it.
We're thinking about terraforming Mars.
Somebody send them the video I made.
And it's designed for life. Our temperature may go up 1 degree. You gotta get to Mars. Mars? Life on Mars. You gotta get to Mars. We must go to Mars. You gotta get to Mars. Mars? Life on Mars. You gotta get to Mars.
What the fuck?
We must go to Mars.
I'm turning this down just in case it's like some copyright shit. He's just awkwardly trying to dance to this as if it's cool. Like, why? It's funny that he plays this right after he's talking about that honesty and all that shit. It seems like this is what it really seems like, and people are gonna. This is obvious now. It seems like he's trying too hard. He's trying to be likable. He's trying to be this. He's trying to be that. He's trying to build up like some kind of like team, sort of kind of like a Owen Benjamin's version of Infowars, which I should write down right now and figure out how I'm gonna word that to make. What would Owen Benjamin's? I'll name the title that. I'm not gonna turn that up. You just listen. He's just pounding his chest and drinking a goblet, and like staring into the camera, grabbing his bear, talking, like feeding his bear beer, and trying to be cool to this song, which is not really at all good. It's just talking about Mars. It seems like he's trying too hard. Like he's an actor, and he's trying too hard. You can see, oh shit, and you can see it's still on.
I gotta find out who made that. Tyson, who made
Likeable. This is what this is. Likability. Like I said. Okay, so what would be would just a regular old guy, fireside chat.
Episode yet, and it's 42 minutes.
What is it saying?
It's talking about the Federal Reserve and a conspiracy that killed 100 million people.
What the hell is it?
Someone just say, am I drunk? How drunk are you? You're not going to be banned, but you're...
Oh, what would be the name of Owen Benjamin's, like, Infowars?
275. I'm a giant from
Alex Jones's Infowars, Owen Benjamin's...
I took that 23andMe. Because Ben Shapiro, the
Fireside.
Jew supremacist, he is, by the way. God, does he love the fact he's racially pure Jew. Ooh, he loves him some Jews, man. That guy is a Jew supremacist.
Fireside Wars.
And nigga, don't you think I know you talk shit about me, nigga? I'll come at you now for life, little Ben.
God. He's
nigga,
like
nigga,
this.
There
it is again.
Nigga?
This is
again.
This is
shit. I got a lot of loyal people in my life.
What is that called? Like fishing? Yeah, like trying to get a reaction. That's what it is. Trying to get a reaction.
We gotta get to Mars. Anyway, so I took the 23.
I mean, monetary wise, he gets paid for doing this. I mean, shock value and all that other stuff. So.
I didn't really. No, I took 23andMe. It turns out I'm gay.
I mean, people are going to tune in and listen to it and even pay him for this shit. And maybe it's like people that he knows. Maybe he gave some people money. I'm sure it's a whole bunch of people that are just like, dude, you're the best. Man, here's $100 fucking dollars.
But just know that I know how to fucking rephrase things.
He's probably got like, this dude probably raised in like 30 minutes.
Not that it matters. I'm not gonna act
more money than shit. Who cares?
Did anyone ever say that ever?
So what did I say? Fireside Wars. Fireside Chat Wars.
He's a Jew supremacist. He's a Juicifist.
I'll start there. Fireside Chat Wars, and we'll see what the name will be later.
Like when he calls someone like, crooked Hillary. Everything out of her mouth is crooked once you hear that. Or a low energy Jeb.
Still the same thing.
Everything out of his mouth is low energy. It's like,
so he mentioned this is how he gets this is a very, like I said, I'm studying the patterns. This is a thing. He'll mention one thing to catch you, to hold on to you, to make you there. So he mentioned the Rothschilds and the birth certificates in the beginning, and then he went on for 30 minutes, and then he was like, oh, I'm losing them. I need to pull them back and get real deep again. So he mentioned the Federal Reserve, but then he started talking about Trump and Hillary again. Watch the patterns.
She lost all of that. Now.
And you gotta think, like, he doesn't really have to go deep into any kind of truth or anything when you have that pattern, because look, he just has to mention one thing and then talk about, like, he can end the video, he can spend like 5 or 10 minutes talking about some important topics, but if he spends 85% of the time of this whole thing talking about Hillary and Trump and all that other stuff, you know why he's out there. That's the main point. To maintain that focus and never really just only mention the Federal Reserve and only mention birth certificates and only mention flat earth just to get you hooked, just to get your attention, just to get you tuning in to a shallow approach to what the storylines are really about. And then he's like, oh, well, I'm not a truther. I don't say the truth, dude. I am just an honest, good old American.
Bert Kreischer is most likely bisexual. I'd say there's an 80% chance he's had a dick.
He's just going on and on and on. Just
10 years.
He mentioned the Federal Reserve for one thing. And like I said, look, I don't know, because people are going to get butthurt already. And I can already, if he had, by any chance, watched this video, I can already see him like, talking about, oh, you're just talking shit. I'm analyzing this. I'm watching these patterns and listening to what these individuals are saying as if I was listening to them speak to my children, my little cousins, the younger generations, the babies who aren't even born yet. This dude, he's talking to them, talking about he's being honest. All right, go ahead and sit down and talk. Go ahead. I'm going to bring my whole family members, all my little kids, and they're going to sit next to your fireside chat. And I'm going to watch you, and I'm going to listen to you talk to my future generations. Go ahead and talk to them. And let's do the earmuffs things. Talk to me, and then I'll convert what you're saying to me to them. So keep doing your fireside chat. Talk about what you're going to talk about topically. And, explain it to me the same way you would explain it as you are in this fireside chat. And you're claiming to be all just like, I'm just a fireside chat dude. Explain it to me as if you're explaining it as if it's going. And then I'm just using that as an example, not to say, he's speaking to children. No. I'm just using this as an example to understand like the or expand the perspective of time. Like time and like time being stolen. Look, we'll turn it up again. Let's see what he's talking about.
Gets kicked out of everywhere. Yeah, I get kicked out of a lot of social.
Victim again.
Not my real friends though.
The team, he's trying to build up his like crew right now.
Not the real people.
Like I said, it's like Owen Benjamin's, what's that called? Fireside Chat Wars instead of Info Wars.
I'm like, I'm not your attack dog. I'm not your fucking attack dog. I'm a real boy. You know, times are war freaks. I'm starting to realize that.
He's trying to be real.
I get really excited about new crews of people.
Okay, this is confirmed. This is exactly what I was saying was going on with Will Smith. Will Smith is going to be doing this pretty soon. He's going to be put on blast pretty soon because he's starting up his YouTube channel. He's eventually going to go live one or a few times. He's eventually going to have to start answering questions about politics when they have their forward progressive 2020 election and all that bullshit. So they'll have the Wills and the Jadas out there talking on their YouTube live streams the same way Owen Benjamin's talking shit right now. And I was saying this about one a few months ago actually. But Owen Benjamin just
the bafflement and taking down that whole narrative. And
so let's see how long he talks about this and then jumps back to something else stupid.
Not all about lying to the American people to get them into wars and have my friends come back addicted to heroin and then die. I'm really curious how many friends Ben Shapiro has had that have died in war. None? Alright, anyway. Nobody ever really tries to cross you. Comes naturally, I suppose. I'm just so big. And Soros.
I'm just so big.
Donor. Makes total sense.
What the fuck?
Rogan likes you even when you make fun of him. He called you one of the best comedians out not long ago. Still small. Doesn't make him any taller, but he has a good taste in comedy. If any live people died.
These guys are buddies.
Yeah, I am one of the best comedians out there. And he's 5'6". So
Democrats and Republicans.
What am I supposed to say? He's 5'10"? Am I supposed to say he's 6
Alex
feet tall?
Jonesakins, Owen Benjacrats, and Joe Rosa Aggressives. Joe Rogan Aggressive. Rogressives. Joe Rogan Aggressive. Joe Rogressives.
Not anymore. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, Joe Rogressives. Like regressives.
I don't give a fuck.
Owen Benjacrats. That was the other one.
All right.
And then Alex Jonesakins.
Yeah,
Jonesakins.
51 minutes to talk about the title of this show.
That's what this is.
So, in
the YouTube version.
I'll tell you a story, kids, and let me also tell you about how evil works. Give me 1 second.
Let's tell the kids how evil works, Owen Benjamin.
I have a 20.
He pulled a whole wad of cash out of his, like a whole big ass wad of cash out of his sweater just now. That's what he's doing.
All right.
What the fuck?
So, Jackson.
You're live stream like you pull a fucking. What
20.
the fuck?
I believe his dying words were.
He could just be playing people. He could just be like,
He was all about.
I can be on a live. This is what he could be doing. He could be playing like a Andy Kaufman sort of like trying to be like real deep and all this other shit. He's playing like really playing a character like a Tony Clifton sort of thing. And then because this is gonna happen with some of these characters that are out there, they're gonna flip the script and then act like something else. And it's coming to that wire when you see them start infighting. So Alex Jones and Owen Benjamin and Joe Rogan infighting. That's when you start to see, that start to go down. So what was he talking about? What was I talking about before that?
And people would fucking spiral, and I'd be like, he is though. Anyway. Rothschilds aren't Jewish, yes they fucking are. We all know they are.
Back to the Jew stuff.
Said J.P. Morgan wasn't a Jew. Do you want me to fucking... Like,
and then he can blame it on the chat.
Rothschilds.
Yeah, and he's the one looking at the chat. Not to mention, what this chat could be like built up. But they could be teams of people writing stuff in the chat, just like feeding him stuff. This is that's what it was, the Andy Kaufman, Tony Clifton thing. So he could that could be what's going on right now, and he can come out and be like, "Oh, I got you guys, all you guys, even the truthers, you guys fell for my role." And because it's cheap. I'm calling it out right now. He's not really a good actor in any kind of way. Like the honesty doesn't even seem honest in any kind of way. It's just it seems like a whole fucking act. Like I said, watch these videos with the sound off and then listen to what I'm talking about.
They said they were going on a duck hunt in New Jersey. But it wasn't a duck hunt. So anyway, they meet up to devise a plan to develop a currency cartel. This is in 1910. So, J.P. Morgan's head guy, all the heads, J.P. Morgan didn't attend. Rockefeller didn't attend. One of the Rothschilds.
He's talking about 1913.
So, they meet up at Jekyll Island in Georgia. And the servants don't even know who they are and stuff. This is 100% a conspiracy.
So he's still...
And it's affecting every...
So he's still talking like, Zeitgeist documentary shit. This is, like I said, this is Netflix. That's what it is. He maxes out and listen to and he's racking up. Look, I'm just watching the donations, hundreds and 20s and 5s and hundreds and yeah. And like I said, this is all that shit he's talking about. This is Netflix truth.
Because gold had international agreed upon
Netflix
value.
truth. I'm going to end it on that because I don't want to waste any more time listening to him spout off on this Netflix truth. That's the last kind of angle of what his patterns are.
Which is by definition fraud. If you tell someone that you can give them back $10 in gold, if you give them a $10 note, and you do not have $10 in gold, you, sir, are committing fraud. And since the entire thing is based on trust, it's evil. Okay, fractional reserve. Do you understand how much gold we have right now to back
Netflix truth still. Impassioned, humanizing the Netflix. So this is what it is. So this is exactly what it is. And I'm going to end it on this. They seed the information to you. The limited frame of consciousness. They seed it through Netflix. You buy Netflix thinking it's just, entertainment. And then eventually all these documentaries and then all this information comes on, revealing about aliens, disclosure, and ancient aliens, and then talking about Zeitgeist and Dan Aykroyd and that alien stuff. So the list goes on and on and on and on. And then they give you obviously all the space propaganda. But the point is, all of the so-called conspiracy information has been fed into your subconscious, at least when you're scrolling down the documentary, even if you don't click on them. the images of the mind control is flickering, like you're actually watching, like the TV guide in like a modern version of the TV guide, like, but it's like more downloading into your beingness. It's like more effective than just the TV guide book. It's like colors and images and, you know, triggering your brain in so many different ways. You know what I mean? So this let's see what he's talking about. World War One. I turned it up right when he said World War One. So the Jews, World War One. That's why I said the storyline has to be focused on where the colonial system has maximum power. That's why the Jews, so-called Jews, are always brought up. This is why I was saying this earlier with Eric Dubay's connection with the whole like focusing on like the Jew thing, and I'm like, all right, yeah, that's part of the story. And are you ever going to the and? They never go into the and. It's always stopping at the Jew thing. The same thing with Owen Benjamin. What I'm saying is that is fucking Disneyland truth. That's Disneyland truth. That's what they want you to be looking at. You might as well be on fucking Netflix getting your information. So these individuals are out there to humanize, to use YouTube as another kind of like they're playing like your free, it's fake free will. So you think you're picking your own information when you pick it off Netflix, but you've picked within a world of misconsciousness, a world of parasitic consciousness, which is that field of Netflix. So you pick that information. You think free will. No, it's fucking programming. The same way cable TV and even local TV, mainstream TV, that whole thing. It's programming, television. So Netflix is the modern version of that. Then you have YouTube, which is the more complex version of that, which is more like a social media. It's like Netflix meets Facebook in a sense, or that's what YouTube is, and it has more information, more complexities of information. So the individuals that are used for the movies and the stand-up comedy on the Netflix stream of consciousness have to be humanized within the YouTube frame of the YouTube theater to sell the information that's already been seeded to you through Netflix and the mainstream media. That's what people like Owen Benjamin represent. They are the mouthpieces for the seeded next mind control programs that were seeded through Netflix and even YouTube and social media, and the midstream truthers, the midstream half-truth approach, never going into any kind of revolutionary, never going into the pre-Columbian information, never going into empowering the individuals, never going into uprooting the infrastructure itself, only talking about it from a either victimize, scapegoat, or just kind of like be emotional about the system, never really going to the depths of the foundations of the pillars of the system, because they benefit from the pillars of the system. He just pulled out a whole fucking wad of cash. He had just been talking about the Federal Reserve, and then like there and then goes on this whole rant about honesty, and like it's just, you know, and truth and all this other stuff. It doesn't seem genuine at all. It seems more that's my main point. So it's not to like put too much judgment on it, and just to share patterns with people so they can see what I'm already seeing. And then my ultimate thing to say, like, if anybody was gonna ask me ultimately like what do you think of Owen Benjamin, I'll just say he just doesn't seem like a genuine dude. Like, he says some information, but a lot of people share, you know, truthful information, but if you're asking me honestly, and I was sitting with other people in my family and they were going to be asked honestly, they'll tell you the same shit. Who the fuck is this dude? Who the fuck? He doesn't seem genuine at all. Like I said, watch his live streams on no sound, with no sound. You'll see what I'm saying.
Oh, and guess what countries are connected to this? Syria, Iran,
The
North
banks,
Korea,
the money
Cuba,
again.
Venezuela.
So the banks, He's talking about the banks, the money again. So this is, like I said, this is Netflix documentary bullshit. Is it relevant? Of course it is. But at this time, right now, in this like given the information and the velocity of information that's out there right now, he's in kindergarten. Owen Benjamin is in kindergarten truth, like that world. Not in like a whatever, just like like an honest sort of. If you're still like emotional and like yelling at the chat and like talking about like, I'm gonna ban you for life, like you like all the energy you put in, you're banned for life. It's like a fucking child says that shit. So like I've said in previous videos years ago, talking about the man-child mentality. They emphasize these beta males as alpha males, but they're out of balance, not even into the realm of alpha males, and they don't even understand what that is. They're at best, they're like complex beta males. That's it. That's what this. That's if you are like Owen. That's what Owen Benjamin is representing right now. If you just talking about some Netflix shit, given what's already out there, given the teachers and the leaders that we already have in our community, you are a motherfucking play school ass version of what's really going on out there. Humble yourself and realize that you in fucking kindergarten truth. That's the end of this video. I'm fucking done talking about this shit. Fucking Owen Benjamin, that's it. What's this? 56 minutes and 25 seconds? Yeah. All right. So, yeah, thanks you for joining me. And let's see what he's saying before we go. Let's give him the last word ish.
How the fuck are you gonna buy anything with Bitcoin?
Money again. Okay, good. Okay, again. So, yeah, that's again. Still Federal Reserve. It's and like I said, that still talks about the war. It only goes into the war. The Federal Reserve's the Jewish, so-called Jewish storyline again. The money, the creation of the money, the Rothschilds, the banks, that whole thing. It's the same thing. It's the war. It's the peak of the empire. Keep the storyline based upon the empire maintaining its strength. Do not talk about what predates the empirical powers. Keep the focus on there, and they'll love you for it.
Bitcoin is for gays. It's for.
Okay, that's enough. He just said Bitcoin is for gays because he's reading the chat again. So he plays his honesty by picking and choosing from the chat. That's a mechanism that he's using to build his like a video game character, like the honesty. That little level goes up in that whole thing. So yeah. Let's see. Fireside chat. There's something else.
Ripped it all down. Just like.
Oh yeah.
And it was all gone. I feel like that's like how Bitcoin is. It's almost like a spider web.
Okay, done. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the support. And until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.